it fixed the... Oh, that's cool. I didn't see that before. That's interesting. And it's the bird who messes it up? Oh, it is the bird. That's neat. I never noticed that before. Okay, cool. Hey guys, welcome to Graveyard Keeper. I've been playing a lot of this on my own, and I've kind of got a small little gist of what things are, so I'd like to give some tips as to a good way to kind of start off the game. So I just finished pretty much what the tutorial is and everything. What we're going to start with is we're going to go in here and collect our tools and crap. I'm going to leave the flesh in here. I'm going to leave the body parts in here for the current time. We also happen to have these repair kits. 1 second on that. So right now we have our graveyard. It's at -29. We need to boost it up. So that's one of the first tasks you're given, and there's a lot of shit that comes at you right at the beginning of this, of course. So honestly, probably the first thing you want to do is follow the basic things that you're given. So what we can do is go over to the town. When we're in the town, we just got this burial certificate here, so we can go and sell that. And then we can come back and deal with all this crap. Okay, so here we are, we're inside the village. Where we need to go is here to the Dead Horse Tavern. And we need to go chit-chat to this young man or old man. You never know, people boldly interview. So we're going to sell this to him. Every burial certificate is going to be worth a silver and 50 copper. Which, now you know that you will always have this money coming in. Every bit of body that you get will come in. And that way you can kind of estimate what exactly you can buy. You can see a lot of this is fairly less than what you're selling this the burial certificate for. So you can see what you can buy and what you can't buy and whatnot. This right here, the teleport stone, is, in my opinion, probably the best thing that you can get right now. But it costs 2 silver, and right now we don't have that money. So he just gave us the task of going to see the wonderful man over here, the blacksmith. However, it's almost nighttime, so I don't know if he's still going to be out or not. We might get lucky and he still might be out. Yep. Get out of my way. I'm gonna dig you out of the fucking way. Damn twigs. So at the blacksmith here, you deliver him the letter. And you give him the letter, and he likes you a little bit more. And so he'll give you the task of defeating 2 slimes, and you can just go right up here after we use the whetstone, because we need to sharpen this sword that he gave us. So we sharpen the sword, and we kill the slimes. And we can bring it right back down to him. Now, because he's at 10, you can ask him where to find metal ore and whatnot. And when you ask him to find metal ore, he'll give you the blueprint for a furnace to create an ingot and to gather ore from the swamp. Now, if you go in, he gave us 5 metal parts, which is simple iron parts, which is very important for the beginning of the game right now, because we're going to need this to build a whole bunch of stuff. You can see that he sells an iron ingot, that he sells iron parts and nails. However, you can just buy the ingot and you can make a bunch of these out of the ingot, so it's a lot more cost effective to buy an ingot versus to buy these, but right now we don't need it, so we can go and wander our way back home. Okay, so by now the entire day has gone by and we've dealt with the blacksmith and we've gotten the burial certificate from the wonderful tavern owner. So what we can do is improve our graveyard, and that's an important step to do right now. So the quickest thing to do is actually to start getting rid of these brambles that are in the way. They'll give you 2 sticks and they'll also give you a red point and a green point. And these red and green points are actually very important for going on. A lot of the early things that you get, early technologies, which we can look at right now, need these. So for sawing, to create a sawhorse, to make fletch, and to make a wood billet, you only need 5 red points and 2 green points. Mining, fireworking, stonework, or firewood and stoneworking, very important things as well. We also have access to our smithing. What we'll need is a wooden anvil. It only takes 10. However, it's going to be a lot more important for us to get sawing first, so we can even unlock that right now. Over here you can see your points. So you have your red points, which represent your handcrafting skills with your ability to work with materials. You have your green points, which represent your knowledge about nature and things about nature itself. And you have blue points, which is spiritual wisdom and the immaterial world. Blue points are important right now since we're just beginning. Everything that we're going to need pretty much is just red and green. So what you can do is clear the rest of the brambles out of here to help your graveyard get a little bit higher. So now I've removed all the brambles from here and we've gone down to a -21. The next step would really be to focusing on these gravestones, and you can look into each one of them and you can see there's red skulls and there's white skulls. So right now there's the stone grave fence and the stone gravestone and they both add certain aspects to it. Right now the grave is a shitty grave, so it has that. However, if we repair them, it'll change that for it. This grave here, however, is probably the best one to repair. So what we can do is we can go to this box here and grab the stone repair kits. And we can repair this one. So we can take and repair the stone gravestone. And we just went up 3. Look, so now we are actually at a +1. We can also repair this grave fence. And now this whole grave is up to 3. We have maxed out in all the skulls that we can get, and so it's at a good positive stance right now. The same can be done with these, however, a lot of them are made out of wood, and because they're made out of wood, we've gained the ability to craft that. So what we're going to do is put the remaining stone repair kit away in there, and we're gonna go to the house. On a side note, if you're having trouble getting any green points, you can come over here and there's a whole bunch of vines here and you can remove these vines and they'll give you a butt ton of green points. So if you're ever having issues, just come over here and grab them. Okay, so now that we're home, we rested up, there's all this crap that's in the way for what we have to do. So same thing with over at the graveyard, what we can do here is remove all these brambles so that we will be able to put the things that we need down. Now we have this chest here, so what we're going to do is put these in the chest so that when we build certain things, so we need to build a sawhorse, right? Because that's what we just recently unlocked, and we need to create fitch, and we needed to create a wood billet. We also have mining, but that's not what we're talking about right now. So why don't we come over to our blueprint and create a sawhorse. Put it right there. And go over and build it. You need to be conscious of the space as well that you're using around here. I find it better to build left to right so that you can kind of put everything where you need to do it, so you can have your basic stuff on this side and go to your more advanced things and whatnot and continue building that way. So we've built this. We need to have logs though in order to build anything. So what we can do is there's a bunch of trees over here. We can't knock these down, so what we can knock down are these young trees. All we gotta do is hit them up. You also want to dig out the stump, because if you don't dig out the stump, you actually won't have the tree grow back. So once you dig the stump out, you'll be able to get the tree. Let's cut down this little one as well, since it's right here, of course. You also get a bunch of red and green points from cutting down the tree. And you get an extra red point for digging up the stump. So right now we have 2 of these. What we can do is look at what else we might want to build. So right now, there isn't anything that's typically important to build aside from the furnace. So the furnace, what it requires is filch, stone, and simple iron parts. Now, we have the simple iron parts, but if for some reason you didn't go over into town right away and you decided to faff around and you ran out of energy, you'd fall asleep. You could come down here into your basement. And so coming down here into your basement, you got all this crap lying around. So what you can do is break it. And it gives you a chance of picking up nails, picking up simple iron parts, and also picking up flitch, I think. Yep, there's some flitch. And so while you're breaking these, you are also gaining red points, which is another plus. Okay, so I've taken everything from in here. What we ended up getting was 1 simple iron part, 3 nails, 4 flitch, and I think these 3 extra sticks might be from down here. They're probably from me chopping down the trees. But we also got flour. Right now we're not going to talk about food. We'll talk about that later. Right now we're kind of just basically setting up everything. So I like to be organized, and so I will always put my things away into the chest here. Later in game, I don't like to have my wood and my metal parts and stone together, so I make 2 separate chests. But right now, we're not going to have too many things, so it's easy enough to keep everything in one spot. So what I'm going to do right now is actually I'm going to collect a bunch of logs that will bring up the points that I have, and also we'll have a good stockpile for all the things we need to build. Okay, so what I've done is I have completely stocked up the stockpile of wood. What we can do now is actually make a bunch of flitch. So you can click on it once in order to make that first 6. However, you can also hit this tab sign here to use multiple logs to make multiple flitch. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to make about 12 pieces of it. And so it drops it and you get a single red coin, or a single red point for creating 2 of those. So we made 12. Also, while I was collecting the wood, I also collected some of the stone. This way, we can come over here and we can actually build a furnace. And what I'm going to do is tuck it up here. Now you gotta go build it. Oh, we got a body. We can deal with that in a second. So now we've built the furnace. The furnace can use sticks, firewood, or coal to burn, and then you can use iron ore or metal scrap in order to make another iron ingot. But right now, we're gonna go check out this body. So the body's at 98 right now. And what we can do is put it down. We only have the ability to take flesh from the body right now, and what that is going to do is take away one of these white skulls. White skulls are very important because that's what makes your body good. Right now we don't have any of the other technologies that would be able to take away a red skull. However, we do seem to have the points. So what we can do is go over into the Anatomy and Alchemy tab, and you want to get the soft spheres one. Unlock it for 10 red and 10 green. And now we have the ability to take out blood and fat. So, we can take out the blood from this body here. And by taking out the blood, we got rid of that 1 red skull. You can also take out the fat. Taking out the fat, if there are no red skulls, will actually add a white skull. So you have 4 skulls, which is a really good body. So what we can do is actually go and bury this body in the grave. There's only one nice one. So we can throw them down here, and we're going to go build a gravesite. What you can also do if you want to save yourself some time is you can actually put down areas where you're going to want to have your gravesites. So all you have to do is go and dig the one that you want. It doesn't cause any harm to your graveyard just to have these plots down. However, if you do dig them all out, it will bring down your overall quality, as you lose 2 each time you have an open grave. So put this body in, cover it up, and it already is a +1 body, which is great all by itself. And we got another barrier certificate. Okay, so now that we have this, the next step is actually going to get the iron ore to help smelt. So if we go a little bit north here, there are some deposits. But you gotta watch out for some slimes because they'll be here for some reason. So we can just mine these deposits here. Is that slime coming from my butt? Don't touch my booty. Alright, slime's down. And there's actually a whole bunch of them here. So what you can do is pretty much spend this entire day worth of energy and actually collect all this iron here. Now also during the game, in the beginning, you're going to get a lot of bodies. And it's going to be very bothersome. So what you can do is actually take this body and leave it on the autopsy table here. This way your stuff is full and the donkey won't be bringing you any more extra bodies. And the body actually does not decompose while it's on the table, which is really handy. So you can just leave it here and get back to whatever you were doing. Okay, so I just mined all the ore that's up there. So what we got in total was actually 50 pieces of ore, which is really good. Another thing, I'm pretty sure if you shift click on something, you can actually send an entire tab worth of items over into your trunk if that's where you're moving it to. So now that we have all this ore, what we can do is actually forge it. But in order to, or to smelt it, I guess is the word you'd be using, we only have one type of fuel right now, which is sticks. Not very efficient because it takes 10 of them and you only get 30, or you only get 20 fuel from it. So what we'll do is put all 30 in, and then we can actually melt 2 pieces of iron. And so we can leave actually this smelting, and we can go and do something else. So while that's smelting, I think what would be the best thing to do is actually to create this wooden anvil. So we're going to unlock this anvil, and we're going to look at what we need for it. So the anvil needs wood billets and 2 simple iron parts. Easy enough. All we gotta do is go over here to make the wood billets. Cut it real quick. We get wood billets and 1 red. So we can come back up here, get the anvil, and we'll put it down right there. And since it's just, you know, a solid piece of wood, it's just 1 piece and you don't gotta build it. So you can make nails and you can make simple iron parts. However, it takes an iron ingot in order to forge it. And we have to wait for this to smelt. So while it's doing that, we can go actually and look at the body that I left in the morgue. If we pick it up and we drop it, it's only at 97, so very little degradation to it. We want to make this a better body, so we're going to extract the blood and we're going to extract the fat. And now we got another 4-star body. So we can take that over to our graveyard here, which is the next step that we're going to take care of. But what we can do is actually make some new markers. If we look into the theology tab, you'll see that there's the humble marker, but there's also the simple gravestones, which is what we want to unlock. They'll allow us to make higher quality wooden cross, wooden grave fences, and also stone gravestones. So we'll unlock that. The gravestones now are the better one to create, as it gives you 2, and the wooden cross also gives you 2, and the grave fence gives you 1. So it's up to you what you want to make. We'll see what it takes to create it when we get over to the house. If we look, we're also going to need a woodworking station. This allows us to make wooden planks, which is very important for just about everything that we'll need in the future. So we need to go up to 20 red. So I can cut down a few more trees, I can create a few more things, and that will allow us to get the 50 that we need. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we actually have 20 coins right now. So what we can do is actually make this stuff now. But we also have to see what it's going to cost to make it. So what we want to make is a carpenter's workbench. It's going to cost us 5 flitch and 2 simple iron parts. As you see, simple iron parts and nails are very important just to make just about anything in this game. Unfortunately, our last one smelted, so we can make 3 simple iron parts out of 1 single iron bar. So now we can go back over here. We can go to Carpenter's Workbench, and I'm going to put it right there. And of course, it's going to take a little bit to build it, so let's hope we have enough energy. And here we go, we have the Carpenter's Workbench. So with the Carpenter's Workbench, we can make wooden planks, which take flitch to make, and we can make wood repair kits, which take a wooden plank, flitch, and nails, but we don't need that right now. What we need is the wooden plank, and the reason we need the wooden plank is because to make a wooden cross, which is the better cross, along with a wooden grave fence, you need to make wooden planks, and we don't have any of those. They also take nails, so that's very important. Okay, so I fixed up the graveyard that I have, and we are now at an actual positive 19, which is a little ridiculous, but we have bodies that range from different varying levels. So we have some that are real shitty, like this guy. He only has 2 good hearts and 2 bad hearts. So if we gave him a better fence, we'd actually get him a 2. And then there's this guy, he has 4, so we can just get him better things, and he will also be better. But then there are shitty people, like this guy. So no matter what we put on him, he wasn't going to be very good anyways. He can get still up to 1, but you know, it is what it is. This person, I really need to get better things for them, but that's not the point right now. Right now we've gotten the grave up really high, the church isn't even open yet, and we've just done some very basic things. We've also collected a whole bunch of materials. There is one other thing that we should do at the beginning of the game before we even move on to certain things, and that is to go and open up the second area. And so the way up to finding the actual second place that we can go to is if you continue on this way, and then we're going to go up a little bit. There is going to be a barrier in the way for us, however. Oh, there's stone right there. Jesus Christ, I didn't know that. So there's this barrier here. If we clear this barrier, we need wood wedges, we need wooden planks, and we need simple iron parts. So we need 10, which is 1, and then we need 2 and 4. So let's go back down here and see what we can do. And we should have everything we need to clear this. You should also watch out when it's nighttime when you do these things, because in certain areas, these asshole bats, like this one down here, decide to show up. And so you just, you know, gotta dodge and weave out of their way. They just move in one direction, which isn't too bad. So what you're gonna go is all the way up to where you see a clearing like this. You're gonna follow across. There's a fishing spot here, and there's a bridge. You cross this bridge, you go a little bit more up and over, and what you should reach is another opening that's kind of surrounded by rocks. You go up and you're at a new place here. This is the second area. And it also happens to have a bed that you can sleep in. Now you're also able to build things here, so you can put together the workbench. And you actually get a bunch of points for building that workbench. So you got 1 blue and you got green and red for it. I have a lot of red points. So what you're able to do here, you can build a stockpile, you can make a furnace, a wooden anvil, a stone stockpile, and a stone cutter. So what we're actually going to do is put this down here, so we can actually make iron parts. But we don't have an iron part. But you have all of this up here. So you have marble, you have stone, you have iron over here, and you also happen to have coal right over here, which is absolutely perfect. The one thing, however, it does not have is a stockpile for wood, which is a little upsetting, but it is what it is. So for a furnace, I'm actually going to need to have some more simple iron parts. But we can make an iron ore stockpile, which is important since that's pretty much going to be all that we're doing up here is having stockpiles. So I'm going to make 2 of them. The other important thing that you should always look at before you come up here is you should actually look at the durability of your stuff, especially your pickaxe. Mine is okay, but my axe is about to break. Your pickaxe is really all that you really need up here, because all you're going to be doing is getting iron, getting stone, and getting coal, and eventually later down the path you'll be getting nothing but marble up here. So what we're actually going to do right now is get a bunch of coal until I'm either tired or my pick gives out. Okay, so my pick just broke and I ended up with 260 pieces of coal. And coal is going to be a very important commodity to us, as it's not only a good resource for using to smelt certain things, but it's also really good for selling to the blacksmith. Now, while I sold the 2 burial certificates that I had, and I bought a teleport stone. This is incredibly useful because it actually allows you to go to different places. So I'm assuming the more places you discover, the more places you can go. So you might be able to go to the lighthouse, which is on the opposite side of the town, which I haven't gone to yet. There's also the witch's house, so maybe you'll incorporate all these, or it just might be these 3. So we have home, we have the dead horse, and we also have the core to go to, which this is the core here. So we're gonna go home right now, because I'm carrying a lot of extra things that I don't need to carry. Alright, we're over here. The blacksmith just came out, so what we can do is trade with him. So we have 160 trade, but what we also need to be conscious of is how much money he has to trade. So he only has 7 silver and 50. So what we can do is put all 160 on here, and that's more than what he has. So we'll go down to what he does have. So we can knock it down to let's sell him 100. So he can have a little bit left over. And so we have 60 left over. And we just took all his money. And we now have 9 silver and 30 copper. So we're like fucking rich at this point, which is really great. And too bad for him. So yeah, I think that's a really good sum up for kind of getting everything situated real quick. We can go home. So what we have at home is already nicely set up. We have our wood pile, we have our stone stockpile, which we passed by on the way up to the second home. We are able to make flitch, we are able to craft gravestones, we have a good furnace running, we can even just bump that all the way up. We can burn that 60 that we have. And look at all that we can make. Let's see how much we can smelt actually. So we can actually smelt up to 34 pieces of raw iron. Just from 60 pieces of coal. Isn't that amazing? So from that we're going to be able to make lots of simple iron parts, lots of nails, and everything else that we're going to make. We have a whole bunch of iron smelting. We have a good wood stockpile. We have the second place open up and running. There is a body in here. That body's, I don't think it's very good anymore, but it's okay. And we have our graveyard, and our graveyard's up to 19, and we haven't even opened up this area yet, which is amazing and a great way to start out. So thank you all for stopping by. I will be making a couple more things. I'll talk about the basic food stuff. There's fishing spots and everything like that. Some are locked away at the moment, like the one over with the witch, because you can't unlock these things until further in game. So thank you for stopping by. I hope I explained anything. If there are any other questions or anything you'd like to see done, reach out, send a comment. And anything else you'd like to do, because I really enjoy this game. I think I've spent over 50 hours playing it. I'm not too sure at this point. It could be less and it could be more, but I've spent a lot of time and I've really enjoyed this game, and I suggest that if you like management games, this game is slightly convoluted just because it doesn't give you a task about everything that you can be doing. And you kind of just gotta mosey on by yourself. But it's interesting. It doesn't hold your hand, but sometimes you do need a little hand holding, and that's what videos like this are for. So thank you very much for everything, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Bye. Wow. Yeah.